have a very special guest, and we'd like to give the honor to Maria to introduce our special speaker. And it's not going to follow the traditional leadership seminar format. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation you're about to receive. And we will open the presentation up for questions toward the end. But this is a very interesting topic that we're going to listen to. And so with no further ado, here's Maria.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is my honor to introduce our guest speaker for today's leadership seminar. This gentleman was born in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. He went to Los Angeles for 18 months. He lived there and he learned English there. All for those 18 months, he returned to Juarez, went to school there, and on his own continued to learn English. He watched all English-speaking programs. As a child, he was highly inquisitive and independent. He went to school in Juarez, pursued a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineer at La Universidad Autónoma de Ciudad Juarez. He received his Master's of Science in Environmental Engineer from the University of Texas at El Paso. His doctorate in Environmental Science and Engineering, again from the University of Texas at El Paso. And then he continued to do a postdoctoral fellowship at the Center for Environmental Resource Management at the University of Texas at El Paso. Beyond all his formal education, he also is very much interested in developing the youth of our entire nation. This individual worked in the International Dominican Youth Movement, which is a Catholic movement focused at promoting education among university students as a tool for personal development. As a result of this interesting objective, which is shared with the Housing Authority, this is how we met. This is how we started to collaborate. One day I went to speak to one of the deans from the University of Texas at El Paso to request her assistance in developing our Youth Eco Club program. He was invited by this dean, and he told me, I want to help. I don't know yet how I'm going to help you, but I know that I'm interested in helping. I've been thinking about it, and this started late last year. The beginning of the year, he contacted me and he said, I have some ideas, let's sit down and talk. And so without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Hector Olvera to you. He will be sharing some of the collaborations that we have been working on and some of our future collaborations, which are going to be very enlightening and very enriching and fulfilling to the Housing Authority in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Well, first of all, thank you, Maria, for that warming welcome. Thank you also for the invite. I'm very excited to be here and to share these ideas. I mean, they're basically my ideas of things that concern me and on things and ways of that I want to address them. Among the many things that I'm interested in, one of them is youth. Children, that movement that Maria was talking about, it's a movement about promoting education among youth, kids between 8 and 25, sort of. The reason that it concerns me for two reasons. First one, my daughter. I have a daughter, she's 40-year-old, and I remember my mother telling me when I was a child, how much she wanted me to go to college and how much she betted on that idea of if I went to college, my life was going to be so much better than hers. And she was right in that regard, meaning college has been great. But her expectations and my expectations of the life that I thought I was going to be living were not accurate. And I thought, what happened in this last sort of 20 years, because I remember she doing this like when I was in first grade, and life changed so much. And we have lived here in this region all this time. But back then, 12 years ago, it was a given that if you graduated from college, you were going to have this sort of great life, I guess. And I think back then, I see, for instance, parents of my students, engineering students at UTEP, and they do great. They're the manager of Boeing or the manager of some maquiladora in Juarez, and they're doing great with only a bachelor's. And their kids, which are graduating from our school, and they're bright kids, they're having trouble finding a job. Most of our recent graduates, they're taking 12 months to find a job I actually hire some of them after they have graduated so that I can keep them sort of afloat while they find one. So, and it's highly competitive. I just do the numbers. I just go to the commencement at UTEP every May or every December, and I see how many, just engineers, we graduate. And it frightens me. Because yes, the university does that. And I'm thinking, here in El Paso, where are the jobs for these graduates? I mean, where are all these engineers going to work at? And I won't follow in this line, but these are sort of the concerns that I have. This is how my concerns started. So I really want to talk about, and this is a local concern, but it has national implications, very important ones. And I think what we do here in El Paso, UTEP and HACEP and many other organizations here could have an impact nationwide. And that's because we are in a very sort of strategic place in terms of our demographics and our economy. I think the nation may look a lot like El Paso in the coming decades. That's why what we do here and how we solve our problems, if we do, could be of national importance. So I'm going to share 3 sort of challenges that the nation has. And I'm going to start, I'm just using this. This talk is not about those problems, because we can spend hours just on one of them. But I want to use these challenges, which I hope everybody here agrees these are pressing, important challenges, globally and nationally, for today and for the decades to come for us to solve. If we don't solve the problem of sustainability, energy and food security, we're in trouble. I mean, this means we are becoming more. We're 7 billion right now. If nothing changed right now, and the rate of population growth continues as it is, we would double by 2080. We would be 14 billion. Meaning we have limited amount of resources, fuel and land to grow crops. That's limited. And the way those two relate are very complex relationships, meaning we cannot just start producing more crops without requiring more fuel. Right? And by the way, we're using a lot of our cropland to generate biofuel, right? So now even our land is divided between energy and food. And that's just the beginning of the sustainability problem. And again, we're becoming more. And even if our growing rates seem to be plateauing, meaning we're growing now at a sort of steady state, or we're approaching that, like around 1.3% per year, globally wise, that's still an increase, meaning we're still becoming more. And 1.3% of 7 billion, it's a big number per year. So we need to feed more of us that rapidly. And technology and policy is not keeping up, for sure. And we see that the economy is being impacted by that, meaning every time there's more of us requiring food, energy, and work, and there's less jobs, because technology is taking away many of those jobs. So that's sustainability. Of course, climate change, again, I'm not thinking this catastrophic event. I'm thinking, what happens if, in fact, this is happening at a very slow rate and weather patterns are changing? How is that going to affect food availability? Climate change, for instance, it's already affecting this virus in Asia, which is eliminating wheat crops completely, wheat fields, which Asia, by the way, is the sort of core provider of wheat, therefore flour, to the entire globe. If we lose wheat, think about what would that happen to global food supplies. And this is affected by weather. Warmer weather promotes more virus, and they are more resistant, and they last longer. So that's how climate change itself could only impact sustainability. I'm not even going to mention public health or other possibilities. And again, these are only slight changes, meaning slightly warmer, which we have all seen it's happening. Even if it's natural, the fact that it's warmer, it becomes more dangerous. And then, of course, we're all aware and concerned, I hope, about our national and global weakening economy. Europe is not doing well, and we're not doing well either. And we have been expecting sort of change of chip since 2008, which I don't think anyone's convinced that it has happened. And it's far more complicated than just a change of policy or a change of precedent. And I'll try to sort of provide some points to prove that. So again, so how is humanity trying to, could you click? Could you change? So how are we trying to solve, meaning, we have these two tools, human means, and we're always trying to solve everything through these two processes, either through policy or technology, right? Meaning we have policy that requires or that is investing on clean technology, or we give tax breaks to anyone in Texas that opens a wind field, right? And now Texas is the state with the most wind energy production in the nation, because in '98 we provided that legislature. However, we have that choice locally. Actually, you can call El Paso Electric, and any one of us can choose to buy energy from their wind farm. It would be a little bit more expensive, but we could. Anyone here does that? No. Technology is there. Policy is there. Human behavior is not there. And there's nothing that technology and policy can do if we don't really do something with it. Okay, so I'm going to use that example again. I really want to emphasize this. Climate change. Okay, the problem is air pollution, greenhouse gases, increasing warmth in the atmosphere, changes climate and weather patterns. So policy, what do we do? So can you click it? So in terms of policy, we generate, again, we have the Kyoto Protocol. We're supposed to reduce greenhouse emissions. Some industry does that. Policy is doing great. It requires new technology and the investment of energy efficiency all over the place. Okay, so technology is driven. So technology does that as well. We produce hybrid cars. We produce Energy Star appliances, and everybody loves them. Everybody loves hybrids, and everybody loves energy efficient appliances. So what do humans do with those cool new technology? Well, now, because they're so efficient, I'm going to buy a hybrid SUV. So now, because my appliances, they don't spend so much energy, I can buy a bigger house, which uses that offset that I'm creating. And that's what we're doing. And the thing is that the smart people that come up with these ideas, again, for some reason, well, politicians I understand because it means votes, and they bet on technology because they would never bet on human behavior. You're never going to see a politician coming out on TV saying, I'm going to promote to enforce energy efficient behavior. He won't win. I mean, that's really up to us. And again, I'm not faulting politicians because they're doing what we're asking them to do. Because if they did that, we wouldn't vote for them. So it's not like, oh, these horrible politicians, they would not target human behavior. No, we don't want them to target human behavior, right? Meaning we're free to do as we please. And that's fine. The sad thing is that what pleases us to do is just mess everything up.